I'm with Hyperreal Film Club. I'll be interviewing Ken and Josh. They're a pair of amazing dynamic duo producers who are also a part of Waypoint Entertainment. So I'm here just to talk with them. They gave us the opportunity, and hopefully I don't fumble it. But yeah, let me start off with some questions. Really, the first one I want to ask y'all. Ken, I saw you were the co-founder of Waypoint Entertainment. Josh, I know you've been working with Waypoint. But what's the origins of Waypoint Entertainment? How'd that come to be?
Well, I think in 2028. No, 2028 is not even existent. Let me get a second take on that.
Yeah.
Around 2008, I decided to stop practicing law and pursue the film industry. And so a former partner of mine and I co-founded Waypoint, and the intention was to create auteur-driven films. And our first film was Rampart, which we started producing in the spring of 2010. And now it's 2024, and we've produced over a dozen films.
Yeah. 14 years goes by fast, right?
Yeah.
14 years, my math is right there?
Yeah.
About right, yeah.
Sweet, yeah. So, Josh, can you describe like your journey into kind of coming across Waypoint, eventually helping out Ken with keeping the flow going?
Yeah, no, I was working as an agent trainee over at WME, the talent agency, drinking the Kool-Aid over there, which I shouldn't have been drinking, and we were working with Ken quite a bit to help, help him package the films with talent, and when the films would be finished, this department I was working in would help sell the films to a studio. And one day, him and his business partner he was working with, Alex Walton, that co-founded Bloom, the foreign sales agency, with, were like, hey, we're looking for someone to help, run this slate of films, and like, do you know anyone? I was like, yeah, me.
Yeah.
So I joined in 2015, and it's been unbelievable ever since. It's like trial by fire. I think we shot, 5 or 6 films in the first 18 months of working at Waypoint. So it was like trial by fire in the best way.
What does Waypoint look for when y'all are bringing future partners and employees and colleagues on? What's that process like? What are y'all looking for in a person who's going to end up helping Waypoint Entertainment, accomplish their goals?
Well, I think from a project standpoint, we're always looking for fresh, innovative material that really pushes the limit of whatever genre it exists, whatever it exists in. I think we're looking for something subversive with filmmakers and creators with a real point of view. In terms of the people we work with, I think our culture is to be very collaborative, both within Waypoint and also with our artistic partners. So, if you know anybody that fits that.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
And he's underselling it too.
They should apply.
Yeah.
Ken is an incredible human being, and I know there's a lot of stereotypes, but horror stories in this industry of there's some intense personalities, egotistical personalities, and making films is already hard enough. And I think it's for not just the collaborators, on the filmmaker side, but also internally, we want everyone to, be a good human being, in a lot of ways, because life's too short,
Nice. Okay. That's a very holistic way.
Yeah.
That's dope.
It comes down to that,
It's true. For me, and this is so cool to interview y'all too. Everyone always sees from the producers of so and so on the trailers and stuff. So it's nice to hear the personal perspective so far from each of you on this. But Ken, you kind of touched on it, and Josh, you kind of followed it up. When it comes to taking on, you want to have that auteur vision, bring on auteurs for the films y'all take on and help out. Going beyond that, what else do y'all look into when it comes to deciding what movies to, bring on as y'all's clients? I don't know if that's the right phrase, but what are the movies that make y'all say we want to work with y'all and help y'all bring this vision to life?
Well, I think definitely when we're looking for material, we're hoping for something fresh and, as I mentioned, additive to the genre. I think one of the most difficult things to achieve in this business is something that's both commercially viable and critically acclaimed. That's the holy grail.
Yeah.
And so, to the best of our ability, we're always trying to find that, intersection. And it's not always easy.
Yeah.
It's all actually really hard.
Yeah.
But beyond that, I think material-wise, we like to support filmmakers, with a strong point of view, with a voice. I think in the industry now, it's very homogenous. There's not many voices anymore. Like I grew up watching films where you could be in another room and you could tell whose film it was.
Yeah.
I mean, people have that strong of a voice, and it feels like there's less and less of that. So it's really exciting to help find new filmmaking and filmmakers that really have their own strong vision.
Nice.
I think that's what got us so excited when we found Tillman Singer's film that he did before Cuckoo that we worked on, Lose. It was just like he made a film in art school in Germany with 30,000 euros, shot it on 16 millimeter with a bunch of his friends, and it's just such an original and fresh voice that we're just like, we have to go support him and do whatever he wants to do next. I think there was like a review that said, I don't know what I just watched, but someone go get him some money to make another one. Yeah. I was like, all right, I'm gonna figure that out.
There you go. That was a challenge that you took on, right? Kind of going up that, obviously you'll just mention that you'll have Cuckoo premiering. It's premiering first night, I believe, tonight,
yeah.
Right? That's tonight, folks. Tonight at 9:30?
9:30, yeah.
Tonight at 9:30, Cuckoo. It's courtesy of these guys and a lot of other people. But going off that, I kind of diving into more of Cuckoo and y'all's role. How did that work? And you kind of mentioned the origin of how y'all came on to take help with Cuckoo. But what did that process look like in terms of when that happened, and then getting it here, and then even to the other festivals it's been at?
Yeah, we had seen Tillman's film Lose, and this must have been in 2019 that I met Tillman, and we met Tillman on a Zoom. And then, of course, like we were planning to shoot it in 2020, originally with I think John Malkovich, and then COVID happened, and we had to put all the pieces together. Shot it. Still, I guess the pandemic was still technically going on, but we really wanted to bring all of Tillman's heads of department that he shot on his student film, and really bring a very experienced crew beneath him. And we wanted to partner with a studio like Neon, who's just been one of the best studios, I think, of championing, bold filmmakers. So we got them on board, earlier in the process, and helped bring it to life, I guess.
Okay, sweet. Yeah. And this is a pure curiosity question for me. We were talking about producers. What is that exactly? Like, what does that entail? And kind of relating it specifically, if we want to give an example, to Cuckoo, because I see produced by, and there's multiple producers, there's executive producers. But I'm curious, at least when it comes to Cuckoo, like if y'all could explain some of the stuff y'all did, like day in the life when it came to executive producing Cuckoo. Just to give a little more inside baseball sort of answer.
Do you want to tell them what a producer does?
Well, part of the reason I like filmmaking is it's a team sport, and it's, I think, of all the artistic mediums, it probably requires teamwork more than any other to execute. And I think the producer's role, I like to think of it as kind of being the connective tissue among all the different units and people, all the craftsmen and craftswomen working on these films. And the spectrum can run from creative all the way to financial, and there's always plenty to do. I think if you were to draw a similarity or a analogy to, say, another industry, you might think of a producer as a CEO or an operations person, and they kind of have to have their hand in everything. So I'll let Josh speak specifically the experience on Cuckoo, because Josh was the man on the ground for that one.
No, I think that for all the films that we produce, I think because we're so filmmaker driven, our objective through pre-production and every day on set is helping the filmmaker achieve their vision and making sure they have the tools and resources to do so. So, it's obviously like compromise, but always on the side of the film and the filmmaker. That's what gets us excited, at least. And that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, every film is like creating a new company, like literally creating an entity and hiring an entire, company's worth of people. And then you have to shutter the company after like 3 years. Like, it's pretty crazy. But yeah, you kind of got to just be the connective tissue and do whatever someone else doesn't want to do. To get it done.
I feel like there can be a lot of emotional highs and emotional lows, as it reaches its journey. It's like having a kid almost. I say this as who doesn't have a kid, but I'm saying this as someone who's watched movies about people having kids. But you raise them, you see them grow, you see them hopefully become successful, and then eventually it comes to an end. So.
And then kids like it or they don't.
Or they don't, yeah. Since y'all are producers, and Ken, for you especially, but I feel, again, I've always kind of viewed that position in the filmmaking business as kind of having a larger point of view on certain things, especially when it comes to the process of filmmaking and the industry as a whole. And obviously Waypoint's been around for 14 years, so I'm sure the company has seen a lot of changes in the industry. Josh, I'm sure in your time you've seen changes in the industry. But for both of y'all, what are some changes y'all expect to see in the film industry? That have y'all kept y'all up for good or bad, that y'all want to give some insight to.
You go first.
Well, everything looks great in the film industry right now. No, it's a crazy moment of contraction, and I think what we get mobilized by the idea of trying to help find a path for filmmakers to make films that are above these micro-budget films that are becoming increasingly more difficult to make, these sub-$5 million films, and then also things that are not gigantic, Marvel films. And, we do have stuff that is of that size, but I think what makes us excited is, these $10 to $40 million films that aren't really being made by studios anymore. And finding partners like the ones we have worked with in the past, with A24 and Neon and Searchlight. How can we work with these companies as creative and even potentially financial partners to help greenlight these films and these bold filmmakers? Because otherwise, I think it's just an rather uninspiring set of films that would be left to be made. So.
Okay. Ken, do you have anything extra to add to that?
What was the question again?
Just where do you see the industry trending? What trends are you noticing just as a whole? Anything you're excited for? Anything that has you up at night? Just kind of quote unquote worried or anything?
I think the biggest thing, to piggyback off what Josh said, was that I think we're definitely in a transition period. Everybody knows, especially after the last few years and the pandemic, we all suffered through it. There's streaming exploded, and I think the way in which the average person consumes motion pictures has changed, and for the better and also somewhat for the worse, right? And so I think as filmmakers or people on this side of creating, I think we're adjusting to that. We're adapting to that new world order. And I think, as you know, I'm sure, streaming is at a little bit of its own transition period. So, I think the biggest thing we're facing right now is how do we go back to making movies when the streamers aren't putting or acquiring at the same clip as they were and have as voracious of an appetite. So I think we as creators have to think of new ways to find homes for the things we're making.
Okay, awesome. Kind of lowering the scale, but centering it back on Waypoint Entertainment. What's up next for the company this year? Obviously, Cuckoo's been making its run, and then I know y'all are working on other projects. You have Project Hail Mary with Ryan Gosling, and you have a couple of other projects as well. But is there anything exciting y'all can give outside of those that Waypoint is working on, hopes to get out the door in 2024?
Yeah, we have I guess 3 films in post right now. We have Anil's Hamlet with Riz Ahmed. We have The Actor by Duke Johnson, and we have She Rides Shotgun with Terrence by Nick Rowland. So all of those are in post right now. Unclear when they're going to come out, but we're very excited for those. And then I think last year it was impossible to get anything done during the strikes, and now we have a slew of things that we're hopefully very soon going to start announcing, but some very, very cool films in the pipeline right now. So
awesome.
Very close.
Cool. This is another pure curiosity question, especially as I was reading up on y'all guys' experience, all the movies y'all worked on, all these filmmakers, actors that I'm sure y'all run into, chit-chatted with, and talk shop with. Do y'all ever get the urge to direct, write, act eventually in anything? I saw you had an acting credit on IMDb as like an extra, audience member number 3 or something.
I must have been 16, so I don't know if that one gets
tell me you had a SAG card.
No, this is definitely non-union. No, I don't know. Do you?
It's. Let me go back to the word adapting. I think we're creatives, we're creators. I think the way I produced a film 10 or 14 years ago is definitely not the same way as I'm producing now. I mean, I'm always a student to the process, and I don't know what's in the horizon, on the horizon for me, but I definitely, as my film knowledge grows, my interests have broadened, and so I love working with, I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of people that I respect and admire, that inspire me, and that I continue to work with, and will work with again. And I think everybody's always looking to grow, right?
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah. Entertainment person at heart, giving a little tease of potential stuff that may happen, but not fully committing. I dig it. I got about like 1 or 2 more questions if we're good on time still. I will say I'm curious. Kind of a quote unquote fun. Don't quote me if it's not a fun question. But if there's any movie in the past that y'all would have liked to have hopped in and be a producer on, what would that be for you? Or maybe it's even act in or direct or write.
Wow. I'm gonna name drop somebody I really admire as a talent and who I love as a human being, Steven Yeun.
Okay.
I thought Beef was amazing, one of the best things I've seen in a long time. And also Minari. If I could have produced Minari, I would have loved to produce Minari. I'm an Asian American.
Yeah.
My folks were immigrants. I was born in the United States. The Asian American experience really resonated with me. I think Steven was involved, and of course it wasn't just him. It was like Isaac and Sonny and all these people. But I think those are 2 examples of a way to create great entertainment, great content in general. Speak to the AAPI experience in a high touch way without being heavy-handed, and be critically and commercially successful in its own way. So I mean, those are two things that's a project that kind of those are projects that pop into the mind right away.
Nice. Josh, anything for you?
Say, like, to answer that in a different way, I always kind of give the example of Children of Men, which is like a film that is talking about very important issues of, at that time, immigration was still an issue that's being discussed, but it's not hitting people over the head with, one-to-one. It's putting the issue that needs to be discussed in subtext and making people have to think about it in a way that probably wouldn't be ready to, think about that issue directly, because I think we see a lot of scripts that come in talking about a current issue, and it just ends up reading like you're watching the news, and there's already too much news for people to handle. So I think we want to be making important films that can operate as a film themselves and be talking about the issues without hitting one over the head with it. So
Okay, cool. Well, I think that's all we got. So thank you
right.
guys for the time. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it,
you all
Destin.
so much, and excited
All
to see
right.
Cuckoo.
yeah, man, I'm excited.